Hello, friends. Welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We start our video with a story about a dangerous driver who was harassing the whole neighborhood, but coincidentally, our OP had relatives in the police force, and he was quickly liquidated. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Flip me off when you're driving like an idiot? Enjoy jail. So this is not my story, but my father's from a few years back. He told it last night while we had family over, and I felt like it was too satisfying not to post. We live on a cul-de-sac, so we often only get people who live on the street coming in and out. We also had a lot of families with young kids who lived on the street with us. Since it was a safe and quiet street, we'd ride our bikes and play in the street often. Now, a con of living in a cul-de-sac is though everyone knows your business, and there was one person my parents hated because their business was screwing around and being jerks. A 21-year-old smart butt, S.A., who lived with his parents and did a lot of stupid crap. One day, S.A. comes roaring down the street in his car. Everyone who lives here knows you shouldn't speed once you turn the corner onto our street. My parents happened to see it while me and my younger brother were playing outside. Concerned that S.A. could have hit us, they go over and scold him for his driving. "We have kids that ride their bikes. You can't be driving like that." My parents are nice people, but the moment you anger them, the kindness is gone. S.A. proceeds to flip my parents off and continue on their way. The revenge. My dad's younger brother is a cop, and his best friend, my uncle's not my dad, works in our town. So my dad calls the police very calmly and asks for the friend to stop by so they can talk. The friend comes by and asks my dad what the problem is. My dad tells him about S.A. endangering us kids with his driving. The cop recognizes the kid and tells him that S.A. is S.A. towards the cops. The cop leaves, letting my dad know that they'll keep an eye on him. Turns out S.A. had a couple of unpaid speeding tickets with the complaints from my parents and neighbors, and now the cops know what his house looks like. S.A. was done. They go over to his place to arrest him. However, his brother answers and says he's S.A. The cops end up arresting both of them. If you lie about your identity, you can be arrested. We got ourselves a real-life case of Dumb and Dumber. And our second story. Don't you dare eat while you teach me for free. I have two aunts on my mother's side of the family. My mother kept up contact with them when she moved to England, and after some difficult battles with immigration agencies, finally managed to bring them to stay in England with us as well. One of them is lovely, but the other, well, I could probably write a book about the crazy things she did after moving in with us. Eventually, both my nice aunt, Olivia, and the crazy aunt, Charlotte, move out. Mostly because my mother finally loses patience with Charlotte, just making life difficult for all of us, and Olivia felt obliged to stick with her since my mother was pretty firmly situated. Now for the main part. I'm at university and I have a job teaching English on the weekends to make some extra money. Olivia calls me one weekend and asks about some English lessons as her and Charlotte are having trouble with theirs and it's getting in the way. I agree. And since their house is en route from my uni to work, I arranged to stop by after work for a 2-hour 2-to-1 session each Saturday and Sunday. Olivia offers to pay, but I refuse. So the first session rolls around. Charlotte barely says a word, but Olivia makes good progress. Olivia offers to pay again, but I refuse, at which point she offers to make me dinner. I've not eaten much that day, so I agree, and she does. Charlotte shoots her a bit of a dirty look, but I brush it off. This turns into routine for a few weeks. I'd go tutor them for a couple of hours, after which I would eat dinner with them. Then one day, out of the blue, I get a call from Olivia that goes something like this. Olivia: "Hi, is everything okay? Thank you for the lessons, they've been really helpful." Me: "Sure, everything's fine. You? You've gotten much better. Is next weekend still okay?" Olivia: "Well, that's why I called. Charlotte doesn't like you taking our food." Me: "What?" Olivia: "She says you're coming to teach, not to eat with us. And if you want to eat, you can bring your own food." I at this point ask her to hand the phone over to Charlotte. Me. Okay, I don't see what the problem is. Is what Olivia is saying true? Charlotte. I don't like you eating our food for free. We have to buy that. If you come to our house to teach, that's all you should do. Me, taken aback. Well, okay, I can eat before I arrive, but it'll mean I can only teach for an hour and a half or so. Charlotte. No, you need to teach for the same time as you do now. Just leave your job a bit earlier if you need to eat. Me. Yeah, no. I hung up and ended up just cutting Charlotte out from there on out. I'm sorry, but I'm not losing time at the job that's helping me get through uni for someone who feels her sister offering to make me dinner is too demanding of me. Edit. Thought I'd clarify some of the points being made. This happened in the autumn of 2015 when I was in my last year of university. My family and I are all Indian, and I'm the only nephew my aunts have, so Olivia has always doted on me. Also, I did make an effort to keep helping Olivia with her English, but rather than pop by every weekend, we decided to use Skype after I'd returned home from work. She's always been very grateful for my help, and I used to see her regularly. She was actually recruited as a nurse just before I moved away, which I know she was always interested in. As for Charlotte, I haven't heard from her since that phone call except in passing, and now that I'm on the other side of the world, I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. Seriously, offering food is the least a person can do to thank someone for helping them for free. And our last story. I barely know my dad, but I want his money anyways. This happened when I was 14. My grandfather had 3 daughters, 2 of which he didn't know until they were adults, and my mother who he raised. My mother was the only child who was close to my grandfather. Cast: GP, grandfather, mom, my mom, NA, nice aunt, July, entitled aunt, EG, entitled girlfriend, grandfather's ex-girlfriend, grandma, mom's mother. Around mid-June, grandfather and entitled girlfriend broke up, which eventually spiraled into medical issues with GP and put him into care facilities. He was in his early 80s. Entitled aunt, July, being the oldest, became the person who handled my grandfather financially. Money, bills, property, etc. My grandfather was put into a cheap care facility. Without my mom or nice aunt's knowledge, July started to put her finances over GP's health. She paid her bills, bought flights, groceries for herself, etc. My mom and nice aunt were furious. Other things she changed were how my GP would end. He made it very clear that he wanted to be buried. My aunt tried to change his wishes so that he would be cremated, which my mom and NA didn't take kindly. My mom and aunt sued for financial custody and won, and were gonna sue for the money that my aunt stole. Afterwards, my mom got a message from her mother asking why her house was being sold. When my grandfather and grandmother were married, they bought GP's house together, meaning that my grandma's name was on the deed. The house was worth approximately $60,000. July and EG were trying to convince my grandmother that it was worth half of its value and tried to convince her to sell it to them for only $30,000. My mother told her not to do anything to the house until GP died and filed a restraining order against July until a later court date. Meanwhile, my mom, brother, and myself were trying to fix and declutter GP's house so he could move back in. He was a hoarder. EG found out that we were trying to get rid of stuff, boxes of cheap jewelry, books, old chairs, etc. We found her waiting outside his house with a new boyfriend for us to show up. EG: I want to grab something. It'll only take a few minutes. Can I get my stepladder? Mom: We're just here to pick up the stuff in the yard before the storm, gesturing to a pile of books. We aren't going inside. EG: While you're at it, could you get his stuff out of my car? Her boyfriend opens the trunk to reveal tons of boxes of our GP stuff. And it'll only take a few minutes. NA: Well, I don't think OP's mom even has the keys with her. EG: Don't you have the keys? Mom: We only came for the books, but we'll take my dad's stuff as well. EG: Well, can you get the keys and come back? Mom: No. EG: Why not? Mom: Because I just need to get the books and go to work. They started chatting while me and my brother put everything in the bed of my mom's truck. NA and my mom are visibly annoyed but trying to act nice. We get in the truck and NA informs me that the only stepladder that was in the house was old and rusty. It was falling apart, so she threw it away. It wasn't worth anything, so we knew she was just trying to get into the house to say a bunch of other things were hers. That suspicion was confirmed when the next day my mom got a call from GP's neighbor saying that EG had been at the house for a few hours that day. We told the neighbors that if they saw July or EG to call the police for trespassing. They were warned and never showed their face there again. The second court day arrives where July's being charged for stealing my GP's money. I don't remember how much she stole exactly, but I do know it was well over 5 digits. She had EG standing right beside her the whole time. I was there, but I was told to wait outside the courtroom because I was underage. The judge wasn't taking anything from July, because obviously there's no reason to steal money from your old impaired dad. EG was the first person to walk out of the room and told me that she was just there to make sure July could see her dad, which we weren't trying to stop. I played nice because I didn't know any better. Later I found out that she was exaggerating to try to get July out of financial trouble. My mom and NA knew July couldn't pay it all back. The judge ruled for most of the money to be paid back and that they couldn't slander my family whatsoever. In early August of that year, GP passed away. July and EG were allowed to visit him whenever they wanted after he was moved to a new healthcare facility. We could keep the same facility because July had slandered our names to the workers, but neither of them did, which solidified that the "I'm just trying to make sure July gets to see her dad" was a huge lie. My mom and NA were trying to stay on good terms with July, but that didn't work. GP's funeral came up, and July was invited to the ceremony, but she didn't show up at all. EG was invited to the burial, but somehow showed up incredibly late to the ceremony, which she wasn't invited to. She acted shocked, like she didn't do anything wrong when she was given the cold shoulder by everyone. She tried to hug me, but I backed away while she asked what she did wrong. There were maybe 20 other people she could have tried to hug first, but she aimed for the naive 14-year-old who she tried to lie in order to seem innocent. We also only got enough flowers for family members, so everyone was mad when she took one of the flowers to put in the casket. Since then, we've been no contact because of the decision. She was blocked from my family for stealing, but I blocked her when she tried to lie to my face, which is a big no-go in my family. The last thing she said to me was, "You know that we did nothing wrong," which still leaves me feeling sick. Hey guys, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.